Hey, what's up there, everybody? So today we're checking out Final Fantasy VII Rebirth running on the Steam Deck. I want to show you what settings I'm using and how this game actually performs on the handheld. Now, before we get into it, I just want to go ahead and let you know that I did receive this game thanks to Square Enix. So big shout out to them for sending out a code for me so I could go ahead and check this game out for myself. But with that out of the way, let's actually get straight into it. I'm going to show you what settings I'm using and how this game performs with those specific settings. We're going to go into the system options and then graphics. By default, I believe this is on windowed. I didn't really see a difference between borderless, full screen, and windowed, so I just left it as is. I also have the screen resolution set to the default 720, as well as the frame rate set to 60. So it doesn't really ever go above 60 FPS. So I just set it to that so it doesn't have to push any further than that. Now the brightness is by default set to 0. I have it set to 5 because my capture card is just projecting a little darker than usual, so you go ahead and mess around with that. The dynamic resolution is where it's going to actually make a difference. So by default, I believe this is either set to 50 or 66%. And as you can see here, the face blurry, the surrounding is blurry. It really does make a big difference. You're gonna get maybe 5 to 8 FPS boost if you happen to have it set to the 66%. Set it to the 100%, it makes a world of a difference. And then everything else is going to be set to low, TAAU enabled on the text itself. But just to show you here, that 100% really does make a difference. So the face is just a little bit more clear, especially when it comes to cutscenes. You'll notice a massive difference if you set it from that 66% to the 100%. So definitely go ahead and do that. Sacrifice the 5 FPS. It really does make a difference. Rebirth is Steam Deck verified. However, this game still chugs in certain situations. As you see here in the top left hand corner, my FPS is going to dip down to about 22 FPS and then hit a high of about 30 FPS when I'm in this town. Now obviously this town does have a lot to render. There's a lot of people walking around, there's a lot of environments and different things like that does require the Steam Deck to work a little bit harder. Now in certain dungeons, I've noticed the FPS go up to as much as 40 FPS and then hit an average of about 35. So it all does really depend on your location. Obviously this town does have a lot to offer, so it is going to demand a lot more out of the handheld itself. While you're in the town, however, you're not really doing all too much. It doesn't really require a fast FPS. It does still feel smooth. It doesn't feel all too choppy whatsoever. The only issue that I did notice is that certain things and certain textures will pop in and out. As you see there, the stairs kind of flickered a little bit. You'll notice that when I start to run, certain things will pop in and out. Stones will just appear, like the floor starts to look like it's moving. That does become a little bit jarring, and as I get to this point here, you'll start to notice the stones across the path start to pop up, and then as I continue to run a little bit more, an entire chocobo is going to appear. And it's just little things like that that kind of can be bothersome to some people, but for me it really wasn't all too bad. Just running around the village itself really isn't that horrible. Now when it comes to cutscenes, as you see here when I'm talking to Aerith, it does look visually good. It doesn't actually have too many problems with it. Now I believe that all these cutscenes aren't pre-rendered. These are actually rendered in real time, so depending on the situation, the frame rate might dip. Now I noticed another thing with the frame rate is that when you cut from scene to scene, so there's going to be a moment where I leave the village and go into the open world, and that cut in scene actually drops my FPS to about 2, but just for a split second, and then it goes back up to that 27-30 FPS. But as you see here, it doesn't feel choppy. It actually does still feel smooth. It's still enjoyable. It doesn't actually take away from the game itself. Just still running at that 25 to 30 FPS. This is the first open world section that you actually get to, and as you see here, top left hand corner, 30 FPS. While you're fighting, you have all these visual artifacts going on. The game still does hold up. It feels smooth. Even though it is dipping down to that 25 FPS, it doesn't really feel like it. Now I did play this originally on the PS5, and I used the fidelity mode, I believe it was, where it does benefit more towards graphics instead of FPS. So for me, I might be used to it because I actually did play the game originally in 30 FPS rather than that higher performance mode. So for me, it doesn't really bother me all too much. It may bother you, but you just have to keep that in mind when you're looking to purchase and play this game on the Steam Deck. Personally, if you're looking to play this on the go and you happen to have a main PC and this is just going to be a here and there while you're waiting for an appointment, or you're taking a bus, or you just have some free time and you want to sit on the couch and play the game, it's well worth it. It actually does play good enough in order to run this on the Steam Deck. Now, it's not the greatest. Hopefully Square Enix will go out and just optimize this a little bit more, and hopefully you'll start to see a little bit better on the FPS counter. But as it is now, it's enjoyable enough. I definitely don't highly recommend this, but if this is the only way for you to play this game, then it's good enough. So that was Final Fantasy VII Rebirth running on the Steam Deck. If you happen to have any questions, let me know in the comment section down below. You could also go ahead and hit me up on Twitter. I'll have my links in the description down below next to the link where you could check out this game for yourself. Once again, thanks to Square Enix for sending out a code so I could check it out for myself. I greatly appreciate it. But that's it for today. Thank you so much for watching. Hit that thumbs up button, subscribe for more videos like this. I hope to see you on the next.